Hello, students. I'm going to go ahead and show you, explain you the problems on the review for the quiz tomorrow. If you have any questions after I'm done with the review, you can always ask Ms. Maldonado, or tomorrow before the quiz, you can ask me those questions. In problem number 1, it says evaluate without using a calculator. By the way, the quiz tomorrow is going to be without a calculator. It's just a 4-function key calculator. In problem 1, we have to find sine, and cosine is given, and tangent is less than 0. So we need to go with the circle and the properties. Tangent is negative, which means that it cannot be in the third or the first quadrant. If cosine is positive on the fourth quadrant, so we eliminate the second quadrant. So on the second quadrant, on the fourth quadrant, we have cosine that is adjacent over the hypotenuse. So adjacent would be the 2. The hypotenuse is the 5. So adjacent is 2. Hypotenuse is 5. We find the missing side by using the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equal to c squared. So here we have x squared equals 25 minus 4, because 5 squared is 25 and 2 squared is 4. Then we get the square root of that. So x equals square root of 21. But since it's going down, that's going to be negative a square root of 21. And now since we want sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So the answer is negative a square root of 25 over 5, which is B. And number 2 is the same scenario. We first find the quadrant in which secant is positive. As you know, cosine is positive, and that's the inverse function of secant on the first and the fourth quadrant. So we eliminate the second and the third, and you want cosecant, which is the inverse of sine, to be negative. So we eliminate the first one. So my triangle would be again on the fourth quadrant. And we have secant, which is the inverse of cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So the adjacent, it's 4. The hypotenuse is 7. And one more time, we use the Pythagorean theorem. So that side, the missing side, is going to be x squared equals 49, because it's 7 squared minus 4 squared, which is 16. So it's 49 minus 16. And that is 33. And again, this is negative because it's going down. And here they want tangent, which is opposite over the adjacent. So that would be D. Number 3, you want tangent to be negative. So tangent is negative. I need to eliminate the first and the third quadrant. So tangent is negative on the second and the fourth quadrant. And sine is positive on the second quadrant, so I eliminate the fourth quadrant. So my answer is going to be on the second quadrant. Now tangent is opposite over the adjacent. Opposite. This is going to be 4 and the adjacent is going to be -9. Now they want cosine, which means I need the hypotenuse. So to find the hypotenuse, I'm going to have 4 squared plus -9 squared. That equals to c squared. So I get the square root of both sides. And c is going to be the square root of 16 plus 81, which is the square root of 97. And that is the hypotenuse, square root of 97. Now since they want cosine, cosine is adjacent over the hypotenuse. Adjacent is -9, hypotenuse is the square root of 97. So when you write -9 divided by square root of 97, you need to rationalize. So multiply top and bottom by square root of 97. And that is -9 square root of 97 divided by 97. And that is negative. So it's A. Now in problem number 1 and 2, all they want is the amplitude. And the amplitude is the absolute value of A. So the A here is -2. The absolute value of -2, it's 2. And then for number 3 is just the absolute value. I'm sorry, for number 2, the absolute value of 3.5, that's just 3.5. In number 3, they want the period. And now the formula for the period for cosine is 2 pi divided by absolute value of b. And b is just 1. So absolute value of 1. So it's 2 pi. For number 4, it's 2 pi divided by the absolute value of 1/2. You can just rewrite that. You can say that is 2 pi times the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2 over 1. And that is 4 pi. For number 5, it says describe the transformations required to obtain the graph of the function. Here, you have cosine of x. The transformations are, one of them, it's reflection over the x-axis. Because of the negative in front of the 7. Now, because of the 7, it's a vertical stretch by a factor of 7. Now, from the inside of the parentheses, I'm going to work out that over here. See, here you have 2x minus 1. So, when you solve for x, you're going to have a 1 moving over to the right, and then divided by 2. So this is 1/2. So this is a horizontal shift (1/2) right. And now because of the 2 in front of the x, that's going to be a horizontal. You get the reciprocal of the 2. The reciprocal of the 2, it's 1/2. So it's horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/2. And now for number 6. Here you have a vertical shrink by 1/5. This would be shifted left 4 units and 3 units down. Okay, this is the first part of the review. I'll go ahead and record the second part as an attachment to this one.